Patriots of ERA and people living in Kerry and the surrounding area of Clash Industrial Estate need to listen up, because a whistleblower from within Kerry County Council has come forward and shown me this memo that's public knowledge, and I'm going to make a statement on this now. Also, folks, I got back my miraculous medal, so I'm very happy about that. But this is of national and public interest. A statement now that I'm going to read out on BioAtlantis Limited odour and emissions complaint at Clash Industrial Estate in Tralee. I, as a mother, a passionate advocate for our environment, and as a candidate who always fought for the people of Kerry, I cannot stand by, folks, while our community is being poisoned silently, slowly, and with no accountability. This, folks, is a story of community left to suffer in silence, a community betrayed by the very institutions that were meant to protect us. In a recent memo from the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, dated 2024, the full extent of what's been allowed to happen at BioAtlantis Limited is laid bare. The memo, issued by Caitlin Grant, EPA Inspector in the Environmental Licensing Programme, recommended that the Director, Micheál Lihan, approve a decision granting BioAtlantis Limited an air pollution licence, despite the fact, folks, that numerous environmental and health concerns were clearly outlined. Between 2018 and 2022, 98, folks, formal complaints poured in from residents, workers and concerned citizens. People have described the unbearable odours as fishy, marine and chemical in nature. Yet, instead of addressing this grave issue, the EPA chose to ignore it, turn a blind eye to the suffering of those who live in the vicinity of the Clash Industrial Estate at Tralee. The memo also reveals that the emissions from BioAtlantis Limited include toxic substances such as ammonia, hydrogen sulfide and other harmful gases from the emission stacks. But, folks, there are also fugitive odour emissions from the seaweed washing and chopping processes, as well as noise emissions from the processing operations and from the delivery and collection traffic. Incredibly, folks, despite all these facts, the EPA and the Director of BioAtlantis, leadership of Director Micheál Lihan, have decided to move forward with a licence that allowed these pollutants to continue poisoning the air and threatening public health. The memo also outlines, folks, shocking details. It includes 25 requests for information, and despite this, the EPA chose to ignore the overwhelming evidence of environmental and health damages. Local authorities, including Kerry County Council, raised serious concerns, noting that offensive odours can have severe impacts on health and well-being, particularly when individuals are subjected to these smells for prolonged times. Stress related to these odours can indirectly cause long-term damage to people's physical and mental health. Kerry County Council's own observations state that 18 out of 39 odour patrols registered odour levels above the nuanced threshold. But, folks, this was all ignored. The memo also shockingly reports that the conditions previously required by the licensing authority, conditions meant to protect the community from further harm, were deleted. Conditions such as the requirement for a competent person to undertake air quality monitoring at the facility were crossed out in biro, leaving the people of Tralee and the surrounding areas exposed and vulnerable. But, folks, even more troubling, the EPA accepted BioAtlantis' argument that the facility was located in an industrial estate not within any European sites of special environmental interest, and dismissed the potential impact on human health. But what about the human lives affected, folks, by the facility's operations every single day? What about the elderly, the children and the workers who are breathing in this toxic air? How many more memos like this have been written by the EPA and under Director Micheál Lihan's watch, turning a blind eye to the suffering of ordinary people for the sake of corporate convenience? How many more communities are suffering like we are in Kerry? We folks cannot allow this to continue. The EPA has chosen to dismiss the voices of the people, the cries for help from residents who have been living in constant distress. This is not just about a fight for Tralee. It is a fight for the health and future of every community in Ireland. If we allow profit to outweigh the health and safety of our people, what are we saying, folks, about our values? I call on the government to act, to reinstate the conditions that were so shockingly deleted. We must demand independent air and noise monitoring, a public investigation of inquiry into the EPA's failure to protect us, and an urgent health impact assessment in the affected areas. But above all, folks, BioAtlantis operation must be suspended until we, the public, can be assured that the health and well-being of the community is no longer at risk. This, folks, is not just a political issue, it's a personal one. We, the people of Tralee, Kerry and beyond, are standing up for our families, our children and our elderly. We will not allow this environmental disaster to continue. It's time for our voices to be heard, and it's time for the people in power to listen. Please, if you know anyone that has been affected by this, do not stay silent. Submit your complaints, share your stories. Stand with us, and as we fight for the future of our community, we will not stop until our voices are heard, and we will no longer be left to suffer in silence. So you can contact me at info@michellekeane.ie if you've been affected in any way by this, or you have anything you want me to highlight, because this is a public health and well-being case now that needs to be addressed. Gurmila Mahagav.